Hand cannons on PC are one of the best weapons in the game. 140s, 150s, they're fantastic. But on console, they are much harder to use. Now, with the mixture of recoil and flinch, it's frustrating to use hand cannons on console. But there's also issues with the animation which are being changed. So if you don't know already, you can shoot 140 and 150 RPM hand cannons before the reticle resets. If you look at the sunshot here, I don't really have a reticle to look through. I'm just aiming the gun based on feel. There's no pointer, there's no dot, there's no reference point saying, hey, this is where I'm aiming. I'm literally just looking at the barrel of the gun and feeling my way through it. And this happens with all 140 and 150 hand cannons. In the new expansion, they're fixing the animation or changing the animation so that it responds a little bit faster and so that your reticle replaces itself a little bit quicker. I'm going to be putting this footage alongside the Shadowkeep footage once it's out and released so that I can show you this change. But as of right now, hand cannons have been a pretty difficult weapon to use, especially on console. When you use this animation, when you add in flinch, when you add in recoil, it's a lot of things going against your aim. And on PC, luckily, you can correct a little bit easier. But on console, it is very difficult to correct. It's more difficult to make those little flick movements that you need to get back on target. And when the recoil is so large, the animation is so aggressive, and when you can't even see your target because the barrel of the gun is in its face, well, you run into some issues. I want you to look at how often you can see this light while I spam shots at it with the Midnight Coup. I'm going to shoot a bunch of shots here, and for the most part, you can almost always see that light. Pretend that's a target's head. That's an enemy in the distance. Now look at Sunshot. Okay, now this one is a bit of explosive bullets, and so it's a little bit, jarring on the eyes, but the barrel of the gun blocks it quite a bit. You can still get a glimpse, but this one is a pretty bad offender. Now I want you to look at the Thorn. I'm going to spam shots with the Thorn, and I want you to look at how many times the barrel of the gun blocks this light. Constant. Almost constant. It is very difficult to see the target because the barrel of the gun is jumping so much, it is so bulky, it's very hard to see. And that's why Lumina and the Rose are sometimes, they feel weird to shoot. If you look at something like the Spare Rations with a relatively skinny barrel, again, you can always see the target. And so it makes it easier to make these adjustments even if you can't see the reticle. Now, as I said before, this is an issue with all 140 and 150 hand cannons. And so with this animation change, I think that even if they don't change how bullet registration happens, if they don't change the range, if they don't change anything on it but the animation, you will at least get some sort of muscle memory and comfortability with these weapons. It will feel like you're aiming where you're supposed to aim, and I think that that's a very good thing. Right now, there is a lot of guesswork. And right now, on console especially, with that guesswork comes errors. It comes margin of error. Where am I aiming right now with this Thorn? How are you supposed to hit the target? You've got no idea. It's hidden there. And so guns like this, once they reset, you can see the target. Once it comes back and you can actually look down the barrel, it's not too bad, right? Same thing happens with Lumina. You spam shots and it just completely blocks your target. So if they're jumping, if they're strafing, if they're crouching, you're going to miss shots because you can't see the damn target. My hope is that with the quicker reset, you're going to be able to see that target, you're going to be able to adjust to that target, and you're not going to be sending shots flying over their skull just because the gun is in the way. The smaller the target, the farther away the target, the worse this impacts you. And for the past 2 years, we've been dealing with this. Well, on Tuesday, this is going to completely change, and I can't wait to see the effect. I'm going to go back through these guns, but this is something you might want to think about now. If you've never enjoyed hand cannons, Tuesday might be one of the first times you can actually use one and enjoy it. It might be one of the first times where you actually feel like your shots are going where they go. Now, if you're looking at this I mean, how are you supposed to see your target down that hallway? If you're shooting down that hallway, your gun is blocking it the whole time. And that's one of the reasons why the 180s are so much better on console. Let me swap to the Not Forgotten quick. This is approximately what your 150s and 140s will look like when spamming your shots. It might not be perfectly on par, the reticle might not perfectly reset, but you'll have a much better idea of where you're aiming, and the gun will most likely not block your entire visual with the barrel. It's going to reset faster, it's going to snap back faster, and you're going to actually be able to see your target's head while you aim at it. Hand cannons, while they may have some changes to range, which I'll go over in another video, this is a massive buff, and not very many people are talking about it. Thanks so much for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.